You guys have been preaching the gospel for days for myself and Kim and Hannah here from Thistle Farms. That luncheon on Friday was beautiful, where we got to talk about leading with love and hearing testimonies about how beautiful it is when women come together in community to heal and to do their beautiful work. I could thank about 20 people in here who've given us rides, who have taken us out to eat, but I especially want to thank Bob and Lena for letting me be in your home and just your consummate host. I'm so grateful. And, you know, I can't think of a better way to spend Mother's Day than yesterday having a whole day by myself. It was really great, and I'm sorry y'all didn't like the joke, but it took me a long time to write it, and it came to me when I was walking on the river walk, and I saw the word Alamo, and I was like, boy, that is so close to alimony.
They don't like any of the jokes.
Anyway, thank God that's not my profession, right? But here's what I want to say, is that these are amazing readings for Mother's Day. It's about a testimony to a life of good works and charity. And in motherhood, in the biggest sense, there's not a better person to first hold up than Tabitha in this reading from the Acts. This is very early on in the life of a community that would become the church. This is the same chapter where Saul loses his sight and becomes Paul. That's how early it is. And there's this scene with Tabitha. And if you guys are around my age, you know you grew up with Tabitha as the daughter of Samantha from Bewitched. I mean, that was her fame in my life. I had never heard of this Tabitha. She fades into the history of the church like so many of the great prophets and women that have been part of the history of church. And what is so beautiful, Tabitha is the only woman named as a disciple. They name her disciple, and she is not known for her preaching. She is not known for her theology, her teaching. She is known in this reading for her good works and charity in that deep sense that saints like Dorothy Day tell us is about twice blessed, blessing the receiver and the giver in these acts that we do together. She's a consummate woman, right? They lay out all her garments that she has sewn when Peter gets there. She's a craftswoman, which makes her very near and dear to my heart. And she's given this sense of new life, that all this life of good works, this love that she has produced, brings new life. And I don't want to make Tabitha a metaphor, but she represents so much, and she is a very good entry point into this gospel where Jesus, too, is talking about it's not a secret, it's a life of good works and testimony and witness in this world. I mean, he is not just meeting the leaders of the church, and I think it's very important to say these are the leaders of the church. It's not Jews, it's the leaders of the church that are holding on to an orthodoxy that they can't let go in the face of love, in the face of this new life given. And so he's been there, he's been preaching for 3 chapters here, and he's saying to them, they say, don't keep us in suspense, are you the Messiah or not? And he is not falling into that trap of saying, as soon as I say something, it's going to be an argument. It's going to be this horrible thing. We're going to fight. I'm probably going to lose my life. Whatever's going to happen. And he says to them, you know, I have been showing you all along. You know, this is the group of people that Nicodemus is part of. Nicodemus had already come to him in the 2nd chapter of John, asking him about what is new life, what is faith. And they have this very personable and intimate conversation, so much that Nicodemus will end up defending him, so much so that Nicodemus ends up being the one that takes him down from the cross in the most intimate act of the gospel, to take his naked, broken body and wrap it in cloth and anoint him with oils. He is part of that group. And they know the story in the 4th chapter where Jesus gives new life and love to the woman at the well. She's been running around saying, I have found my purpose. I know what I need to be doing. Her joy is uncontained. And they say many followers came to Jesus because of that. They know those stories. And they were there just the chapter before, in the 9th chapter, when Jesus heals the blind man, gives him sight. And these leaders argue about him healing on the Sabbath, and then debating over whose fault it was he was blind in the first place. They don't see the miracle of having mud and spit as your only tools, and in love being able to have sight from that. Jesus says, I have told you over and over. This is not a statement, it's a way of life. That's what faith is. It's a life of good works. Ever since I've been here at Christ Church, I have heard beautiful stories about your life of good works together. And we know that brings us closer to the heart of really what faith is. We are not in suspense. It may feel unrequited sometimes. It may keep us lonely and wandering, but it keeps us in the fold of the sheep. I have met many Tabithas in my 25 years at Thistle Farms. Many women who have been given new life and celebrated with good deeds and works. One of the ones I'm remembering today is a woman named Rhonda, whose first arrest was at 9 years old in New York. It was for truancy, but at that point, her family had already brought her into a world of trafficking. And so she wasn't going to school, and she was then in trouble. It went on. She had more than 150 arrests on her record. She lived in and out of the streets and in and out of prisons. And then, she had had 2 kids. She came to Thistle Farms, and her desire was to be a mother again. That was her greatest desire. And what that meant was bearing the burdens of generations of brokenness and hurt, so that she could be present and her kids did not have to live that same life. And she did. She came and she healed. She went to school. She got a great job. There were still problems, though, because of her felony record for so long that she couldn't really get her own house. She couldn't really get a well-paying job. And then she found an attorney, great woman out of New York, that had a team that said, we can expunge your record. They fly her up to New York with her team, with her group of women. They walk into the courtroom, and the judge stands. And the judge says, it's all expunged. Your entire record, what happened to you in your life was so horrific for so long. It's all forgiven. She walked out of the courtroom. She went on with her life. Her kids went on. One of them went to law school. And not too long ago, Rhonda came back. And she came back with a little baby carrier that was folded over. And from a distance, she said, I don't want anybody really getting near this baby, but this is my angel, and I wanted to come show you my angel. And her daughter had given birth, and she was allowing us to view this angel. Now, I don't want to make this child a metaphor, just like I don't want to make Tabitha, but it represents so much. And she pulled back the veil so as not to keep us in suspense. And I believe I saw a new life. I believe I saw the face of God. I believe sometimes resurrection takes generations and people have to bear things so that other people are free. Sometimes I don't know about you, but I wonder in my life how effective anything we do is, our small acts, even when done in great love, how much difference it makes in a world that is so torn, so broken, and so angry. maybe 300 women have come through the 2-year residential program at Thistle Farms. We have 600 beds around the country. We sell millions of products every year to keep people going. But it is a drop in the bucket compared to the issues. And I wonder sometimes, and when I saw that face of that baby, I thought, what if my whole ministry, what if all of it was just for her? It's kind of what motherhood is. It's for this next baby that we can love and cherish and see the face of God in. On this day, as we celebrate all the good works, the woman at the well, Tabitha, Rhonda, all the people who show us that in these good deeds and charity there is new life and hope, and we remember love rises. And that everything we do for the sake of the kingdom is known and remembered and celebrated in the highest heavens. Amen.
Amen.